Welcome to the deep dive. We've got quite a challenge today, but a really fascinating one. We're digging into this huge stack of information you've shared with us. It's all about one specific fantasy football league, the Dynasty Warriors.
That's right. And our goal here is pretty clear. Cut through all the noise, pull out the really key insights from everything you sent. And there's a lot. We've got playoff history, rookie analysis, different power rankings, even the immediate results from week 1 that just happened.
Yeah, it's quite the collection.
It is. It's a really rich picture of this league, and we want to help you make sense of it all. Not just, what happened, but why it matters for your league.
Exactly. And it's such an eclectic mix of sources. Detailed draft breakdowns, trade logs, power rankings from different AIs, and maybe my favorite part, this completely unexpected, kind of hilarious nugget we found buried in there.
Yeah.
We'll definitely get to that later. It's our surprising fact.
Oh, yeah, that was something else.
Right. But first, we're aiming to go deep, understand the strategies, the long-term plans, and, the immediate impact of everything happening in this Dynasty Warriors universe.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's unpack this a bit. For anyone listening who maybe isn't super familiar with Dynasty fantasy football, let's just set the scene quickly.
Good idea.
It's not like your standard redraft league where everyone starts fresh each season. Dynasty is. Well, it's a commitment. You keep your players year after year indefinitely.
Yeah, you're basically acting like a real NFL general manager. You're trying to build something lasting, a team that can contend consistently, a perennial powerhouse, ideally.
And that long-term view changes everything, doesn't it?
Oh, absolutely. It influences every single decision. Your sources really highlight those core dynasty mechanics, like the annual rookie draft. That's huge. It's usually in reverse order of the standings, so the teams that struggled get the first crack at the new talent.
A way to rebuild.
Exactly. It's a lifeline. And then there's trading. It's not just player-for-player swaps. People are trading future draft picks all the time. You're weighing present help against future potential. It gets really strategic.
Some leagues even add things like contracts or salary caps.
Right.
To make it even more like the real NFL.
Yeah, the really immersive ones do. Adds another whole layer of complexity, makes you think even harder about long-term roster construction.
It's all about that long game.
Oh, is what?
But even with all that planning, things can get incredibly tight. Just look at the 2024 playoff championship you had. Cable 91 beat Christian Johnson one. Get this. 148.82 to 147.54.
Wow.
Right, in week 17. Less than a 1.5 difference. It's just wild.
That's dynasty for you. Sometimes it comes down to the absolute wire. It shows how every single point, every roster spot really matters in the end.
For sure. So that championship gives us a taste of the intensity, but like we said, dynasty is always looking ahead, which brings us straight to the lifeblood of these leagues, the rookie draft.
This is where future stars are found, where teams really shape their long-term destiny.
And looking at the info you sent on the 2025 Dynasty Warriors rookie draft, specifically that 2025 fantasy football rookie dynasty analysis, well, it shows some really interesting strategies at play.
Yeah, it does. The top picks weren't just about grabbing the biggest name. You can see specific team needs and philosophies reflected, like Ashton Genty, the running back from Vegas. He went 1.01 to ETU.
Consensus #1 rookie, right?
Yeah.
Went high in the real NFL draft, too.
Exactly. 6th overall in the NFL. And his college stats were insane. 99.9 rushing grade, forced tons of missed tackles. The expectation for him is immediate volume, maybe even RB1 numbers right away, especially in a superflex format for ETCH. That's a cornerstone pick.
Okay, so ETCH goes for the immediate impact star. What about other top picks? Different strategies?
Definitely. Look at O'Marion Hampton. RB for the Chargers went 1.02 to Buttons 12. He's seen as a top 5 rookie RB, big play guy. But, Najee Harris is there too, so maybe his immediate ceiling is capped a bit. High upside RB2 now, but clear long-term RB1 potential for Buttons.
A bit more of a longer play, potentially.
Could be. Then you have Trevain Henderson, the Patriots RB, taken by Twizzlers way down at 1.08.
That seems like good value.
Yeah, very versatile, great receiver out of the backfield. And Twizzlers really needed RB help. So this wasn't just BPA, best player available. It was plugging a major hole with a high floor, high upside player.
Makes sense.
And one more, Cameron Ward, the QB to Tennessee, drafted 1.03 by Cheeklapper 69.
The QB pick early in Superflex.
Classic move. Big arm, mobile. He slots in as a QB2 immediately for Cheeks, but definitely has that QB1 upside down the road. It's about securing that crucial long-term quarterback stability. You almost have to in Superflex.
It's really clear how these picks aren't happening in a vacuum. There's specific fits for specific teams in your league, balancing that need for immediate help versus, stashing talent for the future. It's strategic.
And that strategy feeds right into how we assess these teams overall, power rankings and Dynasty. They're tricky.
Yeah, you sent us a few different ones AI generated from Copilot, Grok, ChatGPT. It's interesting to see how they try to quantify everything.
Right. They're looking at QB strength, especially in Superflex. They weigh win-now assets versus future potential. Depth is huge. Rookie upside, draft picks still in hand, even injuries. It all goes into the mix.
Okay, so here's where it gets really interesting comparing those rankings. Let's talk tiers. Joe Dell seems to be the consensus #1, the top win-now tight end.
Oh, absolutely. The analysis points to elite QBs with Herbert and Penix, a loaded RB room, Breece Hall, Jonathan Taylor, Saquon Barkley, plus CeeDee Lamb, Tyreek Hill, and Laporta at tight end, just stacked, built to win right now.
And who else is up there in that top tier?
J-Rose and Tortured are consistently ranked in Tier 1 as well. J-Rose has that strong veteran core. I think McCaffrey, Kyren Williams, Travis Kelce. Tortured has Mahomes, which is always a good start, plus 2 elite tight ends in McBride and Kincaid.
So those are the clear favorites. What about that next tier, the contenders with maybe more questions?
That brings us to ETCH. Their situation is fascinating. Copilot initially had them down at #7, but a later update, the September 2025 one, bumped them up to #5. They're firmly in that high-variance contenders group.
And the variance comes from?
Primarily the quarterback room. It's unique. You've got Justin Fields starting for the Jets, Daniel Jones starting for the Colts, Joe Flacco likely starting for the Browns, and now, critically, J.J. McCarthy confirmed as the Vikings starter, plus Tua Tagovailoa.
That's a lot of starting QBs. 5.
5 potential starters. It's incredibly deep for Superflex, but also, volatile. Fields, Jones, McCarthy. Huge ceilings, but also lower floors, perhaps. It's definitely a high-risk, high-reward setup.
So a potentially amazing QB room, but maybe shaky some weeks. How does the rest of the roster balance that out?
Well, that's the other side of the coin. While the QBs are volatile, the wide receiver group is arguably elite. Justin Jefferson, Marvin Harrison Jr., Stephon Diggs, Garrett Wilson, A.J. Brown. That's just incredible firepower.
Wow, yeah, that's maybe the best WR room in the league.
Could be. But then you look at the running backs. It's described as shaky but salvageable. They're relying heavily on the rookie, Ashton Jeanty, as their RB1, especially with Joe Mixon starting the year on the PUP list, physically unable to perform. That hurts their depth.
So ETCH is kind of a paradox. Elite receivers, potentially elite but volatile QBs, and questionable RBs.
Exactly. Makes them a playoff mix team. They absolutely have the upside to contend, but it really hinges on those quarterbacks hitting, It's a fascinating balancing act.
And what about last year's champion, Cable 91? Where did the power rankings put them?
Interestingly, despite winning it all, the rankings from Grok and ChatGPT tend to place Cable lower, maybe Tier 3 or even Tier 4.
Really? Why is that?
The main concerns cited are the aging quarterbacks, Goff, Stafford, Geno Smith. Still solid, but maybe not difference makers anymore. And the wide receiver depth is seen as thinner compared to the top teams, even though they have Bijan Robinson anchoring the RB spot.
That definitely raises that classic dynasty question, doesn't it? About championship windows. How long can you stay on top before you need to retool or rebuild, especially when your core starts aging?
It's the perpetual dynasty dilemma.
Okay, so power rankings give us the strategic overview, who should be good. But then week 1 happens, and, well, reality hits.
Doesn't it ever?
Let's shift to the week 1 recap you provided. This is where we see those rosters in action, the early wins, and maybe some coaching blunders that managers might be regretting already.
Oh, week 1 was full of those if-only moments. We saw several managers definitely kicking themselves over bench points, like Vuda against Cable 91. Cable got the win, helped by Bijan's 21 points, but Vuda left Trevor Etienne's 17.1 points sitting on the bench. Ouch.
That hurts, especially in a potentially close matchup. Yeah. Any other big bench regrets?
Yep. Twizzlers had some real dynasty heartbreak. They started Emmanuel Wilson, who put up 0.4 points. Meanwhile, Keon Coleman went off for 21.2 points on their bench.
Oh, man, that's brutal. Starting a dud while a rookie explodes on your bench is just peak fantasy pain.
It really is. And these aren't just bad luck moments. They underscore that gamble you take early in the season, trying to figure out player roles. And in Dynasty, those missed points can compound. They could be the difference in making the playoffs months down the line.
Totally. Those points echo. Speaking of which, that ETCH versus Cheeks matchup Sounds like it was a nail-biter.
It definitely had some drama. ETCH was in the Monday night sweat zone, needing a big game, like 30-plus points, from Justin Jefferson and J.J. McCarthy combined.
Okay, typical Monday night fantasy stress.
But the real story for ETCH was the coaching disaster, as the recap put it. They benched 2 high-scoring quarterbacks. Justin Fields put up nearly 30 points. Daniel Jones almost 30 as well, both on the bench.
Wait, both of them? After we just talked about their QB depth?
Both of them. And it gets worse. They also benched Michael Pittman, who scored 17, and Garrett Wilson, who got 19.
Wow. That's leaving like 95 points on the bench from just those 4 players.
An absolutely staggering amount. It really drives home that point about managing volatile players. Do you trust the upside or play it safe? ETCH played it safe and paid a heavy price in week 1.
A very costly lesson indeed. On the flip side, did anyone's strategy pay off perfectly?
Well, Joe Dell looked every bit the part of a win-now Titan. They cruised past Christian 131 to 110, largely thanks to their QBs. Herbert got almost 28 points, Penix over 24. That's the elite depth showing up right away.
Validates their #1 ranking for sure.
Definitely. We also saw some rookie flashes. Button's rookie receiver, Emeka Egbuka, had a great debut against Tortured, caught 2 touchdowns. Definitely put himself in the Rookie of the Week conversation. That's a positive sign for Button's future.
Nice. So week 1, a mix of validated strategies, painful bench decisions, and rookie breakouts. Pretty standard fantasy chaos, but with those long-term dynasty ripples.
Exactly. Every lineup decision feels heavier somehow.
Okay, speaking of things that ripple, or maybe things that are just completely out of left field,
Yeah.
we have to mention that surprising fact we promised, found deep within the source material you sent.
Ah, yes. The ants.
The giant space ants.
Right.
There was this YouTube excerpt from something called Orent, and it described giant space ants conquering a Corvair spacecraft.
And the speaker in the clip just rolls with it, welcomes our new insect overlords,
And offers to help them find others to toil in their underground sugar caves.
You just can't make this stuff up.
I mean, seriously, giant space ants, underground sugar caves. It has absolutely nothing to do with fantasy football.
Zero connection.
But it was just such a weird, memorable find in the middle of all this fantasy data. Perfectly fits our deep dive approach. You never know what gems or giant ants you'll uncover.
Truly. Gotta love the randomness of the digital age.
Okay, back to the Dynasty Warriors. Let's connect back to our Dynasty 101 chat about trading. Moving players and, crucially, draft picks is fundamental. Your transaction logs show a lot of action.
Yeah, managers are constantly tweaking, balancing win now versus build later.
We saw some interesting moves, like Joe Dell trading for RB Braylon Allen from Etchu. They only gave up a 2025 4th and a 2026 4th-round pick.
It seems like a smart depth move for Joe Dell, adding a young RB without giving up much. Low risk for a contender.
Then there was Thangus. Looks like they're going for it. They acquired veteran WR Brandon Cooks and TE Jake Ferguson from Judd 031582.
What did they give up?
A 2025 3rd and a 2027 2nd-round pick.
Okay, yeah. That's a classic contender move. Sacrificing future picks, including one pretty far out in 2027, for immediate help at positions of need. Thankus is clearly pushing ships in for this season.
But the biggest trade, the one that really seemed to reshape rosters, was back in May between Twizzlers and Etchy.
Ah, that one. Yeah, that was a blockbuster. Remind me of the details.
Okay, so Twizzlers got Pukanakua and Brian Thomas Jr., both young WRs, plus a 3rd and 4th-round pick in 2025.
Okay, youth and picks for Twizzlers.
And Etchy got Marvin Harrison Jr., the elite rookie WR, plus a 2025 1st, a 2025 4th, and a 2026 2nd-round pick.
Wow. So Etchu paid a hefty price, including a valuable 2025 1st to consolidate talent and get their guy in Marvin Harrison Jr., while Twizzlers diversified, got 2 promising young receivers, and added draft capital.
Exactly. It's a perfect example of how teams can execute completely different strategies through one major trade, fundamentally changing their receiver rooms and future draft outlooks.
Absolutely. And besides the big trades, you also see constant tinkering on the waiver wire, like Cable 91 adding Will Dissly, Cavante Turpin, Gabe Davis back in June, or Etchu grabbing TE AJ Barner, always looking for that edge, that overlooked value.
And that Fantasy Football Dynasty League analysis document you sent even had specific trade suggestions for some teams, right? Highlighting those strategic needs.
It did. For instance, it suggested ETCH might want to package one of their many good receivers, maybe Diggs or Pittman, to get help at RB or TE, trying to balance out that roster we talked about.
Makes sense given their RB situation.
And for Rose, needing a solid QB2, the idea was maybe trade Cooper Kupp or one of their RBs to acquire a younger QB or picks for the future, addressing a key weakness.
What about Fangus, who made that win-now trade?
For Thangus, the analysis noted their aging WRs like Devontae Adams and DeAndre Hopkins. It suggested considering moving one of them for help at TE or maybe getting draft picks back to reload for the future despite the recent trade.
So even contenders need to think about the future.
Always. That's the core of Dynasty. So what does this all mean for you listening in? It really just paints a picture of constant motion. Teams are never static. They're always adapting, trying to optimize for today and tomorrow. It's a dynamic puzzle.
Well, that feels like a good place to start wrapping up this deep dive. We've really covered a lot of ground thanks to the amazing collection of sources you provided. We went from the basics of Dynasty to that nail-biting championship finish.
To the potential impact of the new rookie class, the shifting power dynamics reflected in the rankings, and then right into the thick of Week 1 action, wins, losses, and those memorable lineup choices.
Memorable is one word for leaving 95 points on your bench.
Ha, indeed. But the underlying lesson, I think, is pretty clear. Whether it's fantasy football or really anything complex, success comes from combining different types of information history, future projections, real-time results.
And thinking critically about it all.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Being able to adapt when new information comes in, like McCarthy being named starter or Mixon landing on PUP, understanding how short-term events impact the long-term picture. That's the key skill.
Which I think raises a final important question for you, our listener, to ponder. In whatever you pursue, how do you strike that balance? How do you weigh the excitement and reward of immediate wins, like a Week 1 fantasy victory, against the discipline and strategic patience needed for long-term, maybe even dynasty-level success?
A great question to think about.
Well, thank you again for sending over such a rich, detailed set of materials. It made for a fantastic deep dive. And thank you for joining us. Keep exploring, keep digging into your own data streams, and hopefully you'll find some surprising nuggets too, maybe even giant space ants. Until next time.